Good afternoon, my name's Stefan Oliver and I am a trainer assessor with Tigers. Now, my journey started many years ago with ASDA. Started off just as a part-time sales assistant in the fruit and veg department, and over the following 7 years with ASDA I progressed through the ranks, becoming a supervisor and then a trainee manager. At that point I then moved on to another company called Homebase and spent 12 years with them, rising through the ranks once again to a deputy store manager. It was at that point that I decided that retail wasn't doing what it wanted for me and I didn't like it anymore. It was at that point that I managed to get an opportunity with Tigers to help young people just like yourself get their foothold into the construction industry. Now, what I deal with on a day-to-day basis is something called the Employability Fund, where young people, when they're finished with school, or if they've went to college and finished with college, they would come to us and gain some employability skills and some construction skills. From that point, we would then take you into a work placement, and then from that point onwards, whatever your journey in the construction industry would be it a modern apprenticeship, an apprenticeship, or a job. And you'll hear about that from some of my other colleagues who are also on the video.
Hi there, my name is Stephen Ferguson and here is a short view of my work journey. I left school at 16 to take up an offer of a YTS heating engineer. For this role I was paid £29.50 per week, rising to £32.50 in my second year. This was my first experience in full-time employment and it did have its highs and lows. I left this post halfway through my second year to work in manufacturing, where I was involved in producing car parts for a wide range of automotive companies. I stayed in this role for the next 15 years and it ended in redundancy due to the downturn of the demand for these parts in the market. I turned that negative into a positive and pursued my passion in sport coaching. I went to university to study sport coaching and development. This was a difficult 4 years as I was a mature student. I had to balance home life, work life and full-time study, but I felt it was worth it. After graduating with a 2-2, I worked in a number of roles in sport and leisure, as head coach of A United was one of them. This was an intense but rewarding role and it gave me a chance to progress myself and young footballers. I then returned to construction, working for Stuart Milne House Builders, and worked on several building sites as a site operative and a site supervisor. Every role I have ever had, I've always wanted to learn and progress. This would be my biggest piece of advice to anyone starting out in a new role. I am currently working as an SVQ assessor for Tigers training, and in this role I get the opportunity to mentor construction workers through SVQ qualifications and construction skills. This involves building a learning journey for everyone and visiting people out on their workplace to assess them in a workplace environment. I would encourage everyone to believe in themselves and always believe you can achieve anything with hard work and courage and belief. Thank you everybody for listening, and goodbye.
Hi, my name is Rory McLeod and I'm a civil engineering and construction technology trainer with Tigers. My journey is quite varied and quite different. I'm a qualified construction manager, but I started with no school qualifications at all. My journey, I started as an apprentice welder and fabricator at the age of 15, going on 16. I then moved into a position as an assistant site engineer, a chain boy within industry, assisting senior site engineers on construction projects. From there, I decided that this was actually my passion, and I progressed further into the industry by doing an NC and an HNC. I then started working in the water industry as a site engineer and technician engineer, and laterally I'd worked my way up to being a project engineer and assistant project manager. Currently, I lecture and lead the delivery of the Western Bartonshire Schools Foundation Apprenticeship in Civil Engineering at Clydebank High. That's a group of young people that they have a variety of aspirations. Some of them want to go out and work on site, some of them want to work in design, some of them are going off to study at university next year. In addition to this, I also deliver training on an NPA Foundation Apprenticeship Level 4-5 programme, which is in Construction Craft Technology. A bit about my future. At the moment, I am completing an honours degree in Construction Management. I'm training all these young people and I'm looking to gain either a teaching qualification or a master's degree to enhance my future life chances.
I'm Ross Hamill. I'm the Community Benefit Manager with McTaggart Construction. My role involves the recruitment and development of new and existing talent within the McTaggart Group, as well as supporting our clients with their kind of aspirations for our new build housing sites. What that really means is our clients could ask for a certain amount of local recruitment, so creating local jobs or working with local community groups, schools and different organisations, and basically supporting the communities which we're building. Before I talk about my start in the construction industry, I think it's important to say that nobody starts off in the construction industry knowing everything. Skill, knowledge, financial benefits only come through age and experience within the sector. So therefore, don't think that you need to come into the industry at a graduate level or a modern apprenticeship. There are lots of different routes to come into the sector. I first started in the construction industry when I was 16 and started off as an entry-level labourer. And I remember my first day approaching the workshop and coming into the workshop and there being about 40 other tradesmen and experienced guys that had been in the industry for a number of years and feeling so intimidated and so out my depth. And now it's my role to encourage young people like the way I was myself. So I think it's important to say that no matter what level that you're at, getting a foot in the door is the most important thing. I think the easy part for construction is getting the job. The difficult thing comes from when you're faced with the difficulties in modern construction life. That might be travelling to a difficult location, waking up and it's a freezing cold morning, having to get the bus to site or something. Everybody will face their own difficulties, and the way that you resolve them, and that might be the case of whether you're on work experience or you're in a modern apprenticeship, and the way that you get through them shows that you've got a desire and a passion for the industry. I remember being 16, 17 and waiting at a bus stop in a freezing cold morning with a bucket of tools, waiting for the bus. I think it must have been about 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, and really thinking, is this the industry that I've chosen for myself? And it's not until you're further down your career and you go, that was character building, that made me appreciate the opportunities that I've had. So what I'm trying to say is that there will be difficulties, there will be challenges that you must overcome and face. And I think it's you have to look at the support round about you, and that might be the support from a teacher, from a tutor, from a college lecturer or whatever. Use that support, use that encouragement to drive you forward within your career. The construction sector is absolutely huge, and it's continually growing. Changes in technology such as BIM, looking at off-site manufacture and where the sector is going, looking at things like environmental sustainability, even things such as renewable energy. The industry is adapting and evolving at such a rapid pace. At the minute, there's over 900 different job roles associated within the construction site. So I guarantee if you're sitting watching this, there is a career that is open for you. There is a role suited to your skills and ability, whether it's sales and marketing, management, design, or the traditional craft-based, trade-based careers. I guarantee there is a job role to suit your skill and ability, and I'd encourage you to seek those opportunities. I think if you're considering a career within the construction industry or a pathway into the construction industry, you have to know about what are the modern demands of the construction sector. And as I said earlier, nobody knows everything, everybody has a day one, but if you can show that you've got the right attitude, the right behaviour, the right commitment within the industry, then you'll have an amazing career. So the right attitude is about showing that you have, the well manners, you can take instructions, you can follow instructions without any hesitation, without any moaning, and carry out each task to the best of your ability. The right behaviours could be things like not being in your mobile phone, helping with tradesmen load materials, collect tools, and the right commitment being your timekeeping, punctuality, and making that commitment to do your work with the best of your ability every single day. If you can show the right attitude, the right behaviour, and the right commitment, skill, ability, knowledge, and financial benefits will come. Get the simple things correct, and that could be for any opportunity, whether it's a foundation apprenticeship, a modern apprenticeship, or a graduate apprenticeship. We all start with the right attitude, behaviour, and commitment.
I'm Derek Johnston, I'm the Employer Engagement Officer for Tigers, and I'm going to share about my journey which has brought me to where I am today. When I left school, I joined a company called Tom Dixon Cameras, and my first job was as an apprentice photo technician. This involved printing off pictures of people's holidays, parties, and various kind of places they would be. Unlike the technology now where everything is instant, my first job was to take people's cameras, remove the film from it, take it in a dark room, and then turn that into printed pictures. That job and that training, that opportunity led me to work with a company then called Robert Horn as a material specialist for signage. This job involved working with partners in terms of delivery of materials for specific projects. So specifying plastics and metals that would be suitable for project, and also kind of going to visit site and visit the partners to see what the requirements and what was needed on these jobs. I stayed there for 18 years, almost 19 years, before leaving and coming to join Tigers, which leads me to my role now as an Employer Engagement Officer. The main part of my role kind of is working with employer partners to identify opportunities for young people. So employer partners who are on that same kind of page and that same part of the journey of helping young people to reach their infinite potential, but also showing what kind of routes are actually available to young people. Through that, I get to engage with the young people who come on to our programmes and also the training team that work with these young people that are on our programmes. This is to help support with the transition part from when they move from that training setting into that full-blown employed kind of qualification setting. It's incredibly important that our young people see there are opportunities within apprenticeships and give them that chance to go and progress and do what's right for themselves.
Hello everyone, my name is Stefan Oliver and I'm currently a foundational apprenticeship trainer within the subjects of civil engineering and construction crafts at Tigers. I'm here today to give you an insight on my journey from an apprentice to where I am now. Working at Tigers has given me the opportunity to be part of many great experiences just like this today. Going back to when I started within the industry, things were a little different for myself as I grew up in a tough household, having been homeless at the age of 10 and moving house to house. I didn't exactly get the grades I wanted in school. I didn't get any to be exact, which is something that I deeply regret. And as I was doing well in all my classes, I wanted and should have gained my highers in English and maths, etc. At the end of the day, I didn't due to the circumstances. After some time from leaving school, I went to Dumbarton with my partner so she could be an extra in River City. And when we got there, I was told I would have to wait outside all day, so I came back feeling annoyed that I wasn't doing anything with my life, and my partner, friends were all in work or apprenticeships. I got off the bus and into a work support centre, and on that day, they managed to get me onto a course, similar to Tigers Employability Fund, where I got some work training, then onto a placement within the landscaping company, which I really enjoyed. I said to myself, I'm going to be the best that I can be, as I was so grateful that I had the opportunity to prove myself. Placement was going well, but was not sure what was going to happen, so I applied to the Glasgow City Council Botanic Gardens, and after a 2-day trial period, I was lucky enough to be taken on. I remember feeling so excited and grateful for being given this opportunity that I would be accepted and can start working towards a career. Apprehensive about getting into my apprenticeship, as we always do hear those stories that they are trying to scare us, but I can honestly say I've never experienced any confrontation in my life or put in a place that I didn't feel happy. I was always asked to do things and not told. The difference being always having a choice, which is, I thought previously I was going into something that was all about sweeping up and getting the tea. Again, never ever made tea or coffee for anyone. I'm not sure if it's they didn't trust me or they were just accustomed to their ways. Without a lie, horticulture landscaping isn't what I grew up wanting to be, but again, just having the chance to move on in life meant everything to me. I could start earning my own money and doing things for myself. My journey began in a 4-year apprenticeship in which the first 2 years I spent at Glasgow Botanic Gardens, which I loved. It was something new, completely new. My job was working with the propagators, in which I basically made plants from parts or pieces of other plants. Gaining an apprenticeship for me was vital to secure giving me the safe base where I can go on and start earning money whilst training at the same time, gaining new skills on a weekly basis. After my 2 years at Botanic Gardens, it was time to move on to a new area, and I chose to move in to greenkeeping, which was something totally new, in which, again, working with new people, learning new skills was really good time, as I was working on football pitches, bowling greens and golf courses, all the things I enjoyed doing in my spare time. In my last year, I wanted a more physical task, as that it was what I'd always wanted to work within, and managed to get out working with the construction squad and the road squad, which I was overjoyed, again learning new skills, which I knew I could lead on from in the future, as I'd always had plans to start my own company. After my MA, I moved up the ranks within the Glasgow City Council, and I knew it wasn't what I'd wanted, and then I made the decision to start my own company. I was always told not to start my own company, however, this was something I felt strongly about. I managed to secure funding from various places like the Prince's Trust, Business Gateway and local authorities. Over time, I started to team up with other tradesmen, roofers, electricians, joiners, and I grew the company into a general building and maintenance company, covering all sectors. Once I had achieved what I'd set out to there, I then searched for something new for myself, and this is when I came across Tigers. For the past 7 years, I had been my own boss, but I was always wanted to be involved in some form of training, and I knew Tigers and how they impacted the local community. Their values aligned with mine, which was the most important thing. They choose to do things different from the mainstream. Tigers has been a leader in raising awareness for adverse childhood experiences, and as I previously said, I have my own share of experiences. I knew during my interview that this was a place I could see myself being able to make a real difference to change the young workforce lives. Being offered the position, I was in shock, as things had came full circle for myself, given that I started on a similar course to where I began my journey, and now I'm here as a trainer. This is something I remind myself of daily and always keen to share, as it's not just my story. This has happened to many others. Sometimes life happens and we don't get what we want when we want. It's about having the right attitude and setting yourself goals, making them manageable and achieving them bit by bit. I started work within the Employability Fund, which is a course that helps predominantly 16 to 24-year-olds getting back into work by getting several work-related certificates, i.e. the CSCS card and many others. Also with MAs in landscaping. It has been a whirlwind of emotions, as I don't view this as a job. I love what I do. I've made it my purpose to improve the life of others, and hopefully along the way I've inspired others to do better. That is exactly what I set out to achieve. When a trainee enters into any of our courses, the aim is to give them the skills, knowledge and understanding of how to put them into practice. More importantly, helping them get in the correct mindset in place to proceed, which is one of the most critical things to have. With a healthy, positive mindset, you can achieve anything you set your mind to. More of my story is that it can be anyone's story. If you work hard and have the right attitude, you will succeed. There will be setbacks. I encourage you to use these as learning points. Never stop learning. To date, I've done 3 HNCs, construction management, landscaping and civil engineering, amongst many other qualifications. I'd just like to take this time to thank everyone for listening to me, as it has been a pleasure to share my journey with you, and if there is anything you would like to ask me, please feel free to do so.